Yugi Bros! What's up, Yugi Bros? It's Connor, and today I wanted to bring you a duel video, but at first I wanted to go over something about Dueling Book really quick. So Dueling Book added its new speed duel cards, as well as the new skills. Like if you go down here, and first one we see is Inner Conflict. So they have the skills here. However, if you go in, right, and you try to play a speed duel, so let's just like host something random. What was the Inner Conflict, for example? And you try to scroll down. The skills aren't actually in here as of yet. This is only Saturday at 8 a.m. So it's only been about a day. So I'm sure this will change. But I was trying to make some duel videos, and I tried to play the new skills, and I couldn't. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up. Alright, so on to the duel video. Everybody's favorite Moby-Thicc. Don't worry, I'm not bringing this back just for the memes. I actually think this is a lot better than it used to be, and it's all thanks to advanced ritual art. So, our opponent's playing Skull Servants. Interesting tribute to the Doomed, allowing you to discard a card, target a monster in the field, and destroy it. It's really good getting these out of your hand early. So, I like that tech a lot. They're going to start with Servants of the Fallen King, I believe. And we're going to play Switcheroo just because it's the best way. So we play Advanced Ritual Art. We figure that Switcheroo is probably the best skill for us, because if we do draw these, we can throw them back into the deck so that we don't brick with them. And so that Advanced Ritual Art is not a brick. So we're going to start by sending a Skull Servant to the grave. And they're going to activate Allure of Darkness. Also a really good card. Drawing 2, banishing a dark from your hand. And if you do not have a dark in your hand, you send your entire hand to the graveyard. But this is really good. You usually only activate this when you know it's going to resolve completely to your side. However, the unfortunate part is that they have to banish the Skull Servant here. They didn't actually draw another monster. But I do like this tech in the deck a lot. Unfortunately, this hand's not a good way to test that. And I do like Allure as well, but they'll just set a card and pass. So we'll draw, we'll summon the Sonic Bird, and we'll add Advanced Ritual Art to our hand. So we're currently playing 3 Red Eyes in this deck. I definitely will knock it down to 2 afterward. It's not necessary. The option of, oh, well, if you open one and you still have the bird, you could have searched the Oath and just done it the normal way, does exist, but to me it doesn't matter. And we summon our good old Fortress Whale, aka Moby-Thicc. We're going to set Red Eye Spirit, which is now already live because of this. Before we played this deck, it was more of a meme, just to summon Fortress Whale. And we'd go through the rigmarole of like Summoner's Art and stuff, adding this to hand and then dumping it and then having the trap. But now we can send it directly from the deck, which is really good. So now we're going to use Switcheroo, which I guess we could have done first, but it didn't really matter because we opened multiple. And go figure! We drew the same freaking card! I can't believe how that happened, but whatever. Bird will swing in for 14. The Whale will swing in for 23.50, as he does best. And all of a sudden, Skull Servants is already at its midst. It's gonna Dust Rain out the end phase, so we do lose our Red Eye Spirit, but we're fine. We're fine. They draw Pyramid of Wonders, which is also a really good zombie card, except for the fact that there's no zombies in the hand. I'm gonna send another Skull Servants to the graveyard. They're going to activate Tribute to the Doomed, pitching Pyramid of Wonders to destroy the Fortress Whale. In hindsight, I feel like I probably would have pitched Tribute for Tribute, keeping the Pyramid, because the next play he's going to do here is Book of Life, a Skull Servant. Also, Book of Life, conveniently really good here, getting to banish my Red Eyes out of the graveyard. So even if we do draw another Red Eye Spirit, we don't have it. But yeah, if you had stuck the Pyramid here, you could have at least let this survive. Not that you'd want Skull Servant specifically to survive, but if I drew any monster here, which I didn't, so it worked out in his favor. But that trap is now straight up dead because of that Book of Life. So we're going to use our skill a second time here. Throw Red Eyes back and draw a Fortress Whale. You give and take with this deck. But we'll have Bird swing into Skull Servant, and we'll set our Red Eye Spirit and pass. Might as well bluff if nothing else. And they drew Share the Pain. Another card I like in this deck because if it makes use of these things that are dead, you can trade them essentially. Trade this on the field for something your opponent tributes. However, they do get to choose, so sometimes it's not that great. They're going to use Tribute to the Doomed here, pitching Share the Pain, getting rid of Sonic Bird. Also, keep in mind, Share the Pain does tribute, so for something like Charging Guy the Fierce Knight that's new out of the decks, it says whenever it's tributed, you add a Blackluster Soldier from deck to hand, so it's actually a pretty cool little interaction there. Unfortunately for Skull Servant, we drew a monster. We don't need to do this, but we can. Actually, no, we can't. No, we can. Red Eyes is back in the deck. We have Bird swing for game. So, game 2. Alright, so boys and girls. They sided in Waking the Dragon, which is pretty strong. If we pop it, that kind of sucks for us, because we don't have many outs to monsters, aside from this. This card I feel like is super overpowered for speed duels right now. Offerings to the Dooms, quick play spells to target a face of monster in the field, destroy that target, also skip your next draw phase. So the skipping of the draw phase is relevant, especially in the speed duels, because you know, in current Yu-Gi-Oh, every one card does a million things, but in speed, not so much. But at the same time, this card is so good, and it being a spell and a quick play instead of a trap means there's less outs to it. I don't know. I feel the card is very strong. But I'll show you what I mean. So they're going to start with Servants, dumping a Skull Servant. Then they're going to activate Allure of Darkness. Now this way is a little bit better. Yeah, they have to banish Skull Servant, but they have 2 kings in hand, so I don't think they care. They're going to set a king, they're going to set Waking, and they're going to pass. And I like that they didn't set Dust Tornado. It makes it so that if we do draw some immediate out, we have to target this, and that could kill us. But doesn't matter. We don't have a Spawn Trap hate card. But we do have Advanced Ritual Art. So we're going to summon Sonic Bird. Add another Advanced Ritual Art. Activate said Advanced Ritual Art. Sending the Red Eyes to the graveyard. And summoning our good friend, Moby-Thicc. We're going to set the Offerings to the Doomed. We're going to go into the battle phase and we're going to have Thicc attack the defense. King of Skull Servants. They're just going to let it die. Which makes sense because they have a third one. Or the second one in hand. And we're going to get in for 14. They draw Goblin Zombie. They use their skill, sending another Skull Servant to the graveyard. And that's going to put King at 3,000 attack. But here's the thing. And this is why I say this card is OP. All we have to do is skip our battle phase to destroy this thing. And this thing only comes back from battle if it's by battle. It doesn't come back if it's by card effect. So you're not going to be able to use the effect to banish a Skull Servant or a King to bring it back. And that's that. That's what I hate about how good this is. This can turn the tides of something where, like a deck, for example, that has to set up to bring out its beat stick gets laughed at by Offerings to the Doomed. And what's crazy about this Moby-Thicc deck that I've been running for ages is that its one problem in the past was just dealing with that one specific monster it couldn't kill. But now we have this to just knock it out of the park and then continue to play as normal. So, we don't draw, that's fine. Look at our board. Look how far ahead we are. Also, we can do another Moby-Thicc play if we need to in the future. We're going to play around Windstorm because why not? We have enough damage on board already. Moby-Thicc gets in and Senju finishes it off. So that's that matchup in a nutshell. I'm going to show you guys the deck lists in a second. So guys, here is the Moby-Thicc deck list. Since that duel, the only thing I've changed is I've dropped the Red Eyes and actually added a skill successor, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we do play 2 Red Eyes Black Dragon. We play triple Senju, triple Sonic Bird, just to maximize our search power. Triple Moby-Thicc, because he is the whole centerpiece of the deck. We play 1 Fortress Whale's Oath, 2 Advanced Ritual Art, 2 Night Beam, 1 Offerings to the Doomed, 2 Red Eye Spirit, and Skill Successor. In the side deck, we play Santa Claus. I feel like Santa Claus is just now a staple side deck card in everything. If your opponent drops something that's problematic for you, game 2, you just side in Santa Claus to deal with it. We play DD Crow. The format's very spread out right now. It's very open. We don't know what's going to be like the best decks, so I feel like just playing generic cards is good for that. We play a second Offerings to the Doomed because, as you've seen from the video, this card is insane. We play 2 Dust Tornado because even though Night Beam is in the deck, I don't like Night Beam for back row decks. Like, this card's really good if you want to go off as fast as possible, but Dust Tornado definitely sets the tempo. And 1 Waking the Dragon. I feel like this is still a staple side deck card in most decks. You can not play it and just bluff the 6-card extra deck, but why wouldn't you just try this just for the heck of it? Also, Thousand Eyes Restricts new 2 Speed Duels, so we side that as well. This card's really good when you summon it. But yeah, so talking over this real quick. These obviously are just for this. Advanced Ritual Art says you have to send a normal monster or monsters from your deck to the grave whose total levels equal the ritual. It can't exceed it, so it has to be the same. So it's a 7. These are just obvious. We still play the 1 Oath because even though the whole point is to dump this as fast as possible and have these for this, every now and then you'll either brick with one of these even after Switcheroo, like you saw in that video, or you'll draw an extra Fortress Will, and you don't always need to summon 3. It's not the goal of the deck. The goal is to just bring it out as fast as possible. So you can Fortress Will with Oath. Oh, but also, just in general, Oath can send one of these from the hand and or field. I'm sorry, 2 of these from the hand and or field to the grave to summon it the old-fashioned way. So I definitely don't see a reason not to play this. We play the Night Beams, like I said. You want to kind of go off with this as fast as possible, so this allows you to do that. Dust Tornado is a little bit slower, but we do side it just in case. I think this card is way too good not to play in everything, like I've said, so that's why it's in there. And Skill Successor, I'm trying this out just for the sole factor of this deck has Big Monster early, has Offerings to the Doomed to get rid of target that we need to get rid of, but Skill Successor kind of lets you go in the long game, where it gives you 400 attack when you use it. Putting this to 2700, putting this to 2800, putting this to 2750, putting these to 18, which is kind of cool. But then also gives you that 800 bonus in the graveyard on a separate turn, putting these to 22, putting this to 32, and putting this to 3150, allowing you to essentially get over almost anything you need. I just like the double use of the card. We don't have a lot of space for like extra things in here, so we kind of have to use... I kind of like to maximize the usage of like specifics, and because this can be a 2-for-1, I just feel like it's pretty good. So that's Moby-Thicc. Let's talk about King of the Skulls. Triple Skull Servant, triple King of the Skull Servant, triple Goblin Zombie, 1 Pyramid of Wonders, 1 Book of Life, 2 Allure of Darkness, 2 Tribute to the Doomed, 1 Share the Pain, 1 Magical Stone Excavation, 3 Dust Tornado. Alright, so this is obviously the deck. This searches the deck. This card's really good. This card's really good. Lets you protect your Skull Servants a little bit. Gives you an extra little bit of boost as well. Book of Life's just a free monster reborn that also banishes a card to your opponent's graveyard. Allure of Darkness, we only play 2 because you don't really want to banish these as we showed in the video. But I definitely wouldn't play less than 2. Tribute to the Dooms, it's a cool option. Gets these to the grave faster, also gets rid of opponent's monsters. Share the Pain, gets rid of these on the field faster, gets rid of an opponent's monster. This will trigger off of this too, which is nice. Stone Excavation we just play in general because discard 2 to get anything back. I don't know if I'd play this again. The thought process was there, but it didn't really execute very well. And Dust Tornado's Dust Tornado because this deck plays the waiting game until it gets kings out that are big enough. But I still think this deck has too many downsides to be considered like relevant. We do side the Santa Claus. I think it's relevant, or I think that's, you know, a staple sided card. Possess Dark Soul, like I said, format's really open, but I figured I'd play this in here just because I think Relinquish is still going to be really good going into future formats. Third Tribute, this definitely isn't necessary, but this was what we went with in playtesting. Rope of Life was another interesting tech, just because you can discard your entire hand and bring back like a Skull Servant, for example, and give it 800 extra attack points. Moving forward, definitely not going to use this card either, though. Jammer, I still like this card as a one of, just to stop a specific spell, and the discard's really good. And Waking the Dragon for your 6 options. So guys, what do you think? Definitely could improve upon both decks, but I definitely want to hear your thoughts as to what you would add, subtract, multiply, divide to these decks with the new 2 structure decks out. Really quick, I wanted to touch on the new weekly giveaways that this channel is going to be starting up as of this week. This week, as you can see from the sidebar, we have a Twisted Nightmares structure deck. All you have to do to enter said giveaway is to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a comment telling me what your favorite new card from Twisted Nightmares is. Not Match of the Millennium, Twisted Nightmares, the structure deck, the one that I'm giving away for this prize. And I will announce the winner May 23rd, Saturday, for those that don't know. So basically a week from today. But with all of that in mind, guys, like, subscribe as always, hit that notification bell to get all of our latest updates, and I'm out tonight, guys. Yugi Bros out.